In 1922, the discovery of Tutankhamun's 3,000-year-old burial chamber captivated the world. It was the culmination of a 15-year search which eventually uncovered 5,000 antiques including the king's sarcophagus, his gold mask, and stillborn mummies. This week, on the 93rd anniversary of the find, researchers have unveiled newly colorist photos of the discovery. The pictures were taken by British photographer Harry Burton during the excavation process and have been made from the original glass plate negatives. They tell the story of English archaeologist and Egyptologist Howard Carter, who was asked in 1907 to supervise excavations in the Valley of the Kings. By that point, Carter had been in Egypt since 1891 and most of the ancient Egyptian tombs had been discovered. But very little was known about King Tutankhamun, who had died when he was 19. On 4 November 1922, Carter's group found steps that led to Tutankhamun's tomb and spent several months cataloging the antechamber. The discovery was made near the entrance of the nearby tomb of King Ramses VI in the Valley of the Kings. On 26 November, 1922, Carter and fellow archaeologist Lord Carnarvon entered the interior chambers of the tomb, finding them miraculously intact. From then a famous exchange between Lord Carnarvon and Carter took place. "Can you see anything?" asked George Herbert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, standing in a gloomy passageway cut into the bedrock of the Valley of the Kings, on the west bank of the Nile. "Yes," replied Carter, who was peering at the antechamber to the royal tomb. "Wonderful things. At first I could see nothing, the hot air escaping from the chamber causing the candle flame to flicker," Carter later recalled. "But presently, as my eyes grew accustomed to the light, details of the room within emerged slowly from the mist, strange animals, statues, and gold, everywhere the glint of gold." To document the entire process, the Metropolitan Museum sent Burton as the excavation photographer. He was Carter's eye and memory. With his enormous camera and cumbersome negative plates, Burton trekked between the discovery site, his laboratory and his improvised darkroom. Every step of the excavation work was documented in photographs, right down to the smallest detail, according to Premier Exhibition, who are displaying the photos. The results of Burton's labors are 2,800 large-format glass negatives, which document all of the finds, their location in the tomb and every single step of the excavator's work with the utmost precision. Carter patiently and unconditionally encouraged him like no other member of his team and, thanks to his photos, Burton was the first and only archaeological photographer to achieve worldwide fame. The colorist black and white photographs are part of a new exhibition opening in New York called The Discovery of King Tut. But the discoveries to make made in King Tut's burial chamber are far from complete. A groundbreaking investigation of King Tut's tomb to find secret chambers will begin today and will last until Friday, Egypt's Minister of Antiquity said this week. Researchers believe Tutankhamun's tomb may contain 2 hidden chambers. Egypt's Antiquities Minister, Mamda El-Hamadi, claims scratching and markings on the northern and western walls are strikingly similar to those found by Howard Carter on the entrance of King Tut's tomb. This lends support to a new theory that a queen may be buried in the walls of the 3,300-year-old pharaonic mausoleum. The theory was put forward last month by British Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves. He claimed to have found a ghost doorway hiding beneath the plaster on the wall of the burial chamber, which he said leads to the tomb of the ruler's supposed mother, Queen Nefertiti. Famed for her exquisite beauty, the grave of Nefertiti or the Lady of the Two Lands has been lost for centuries since her sudden death in 1340 BC. Previous DNA analysis has suggested King Tutankhamun's mother may have been a mummy known as the Younger Lady, who is also thought to be his father's sister. However, there are some Egyptologists who claim that it is actually Nefertiti, the chief wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten and mother to 6 of his children, who is Tutankhamun's mother. Dr. Nicholas Reeves, an English archaeologist at the University of Arizona, has now provided new evidence to support these claims in a report published by the Amarna Royal Tombs Project. After analyzing high-resolution scans of the walls of Tutankhamun's grave complex in the Valley of the Kings, Dr. Reeves spotted what appeared to be a secret entrance. He described how he uncovered the ghosts of 2 portals that tomb builders blocked up, one of which is believed to be a storage room. The other, on the north side of Tutankhamun's tomb, contains the undisturbed burial of the tomb's original owner Nefertiti, Dr. Reeves argued. If Dr. Reeves is correct, the hidden tomb could be far more magnificent than anything found in Tutankhamun's burial chamber. He believes it is her tomb due to its position to the right of the entrance shaft, which is far more typical of Egyptian queens rather than kings. The small size of Tutankhamun's burial chamber, given his standing in the Egyptian history, has baffled experts for years, and Dr. Reeves' theory could suggest that it was built as an addition to an existing tomb, his mother's. Tutankhamun's burial chamber is the same size as an antechamber, rather than a tomb fit for an Egyptian king. For example, Dr. Reeves said the richness of the furnishings crammed into Tutankhamun's 4 small chambers is overwhelming. The majority of Egyptologists have taken this at face value. He said many of the objects there appear to have been taken from predecessor kings and adapted for the boy king's use. He proposes that some of the material in the tomb suggests Nefertiti had been the boy's co-regent. Combined with the skins of the north wall of the tomb, Dr. Reeves believes the tomb belonged to Nefertiti and the pharaoh's room was simply an afterthought, describing it as a corridor-style tomb within a tomb. The opening of what is believed to have been Nefertiti's tomb is decorated with religious scenes, perhaps in a ritual to provide protection to the chamber behind it, he said. Only one female royal of the late 18th dynasty is known to have received such honors, and that is Nefertiti, Dr. Reeves writes. If Dr. Reeves' theory is correct, it may resolve a number of oddities about Tutankhamun's burial chamber that have long baffled researchers. For instance, the treasures found within seem to have been placed there in a rush, and are largely second-hand. The implications are extraordinary, he wrote. If digital appearance translates into physical reality, it seems we are now faced not merely with the prospect of a new, Tutankhamun-era storeroom to the west but that of Nefertiti herself, celebrated consort, co-regent, and eventual successor of Pharaoh Akhenaten. Joyce Leslie, senior lecturer in Egyptology at the University of Manchester, told The Times that Dr. Reeves's hypothesis may prove correct. It would not be surprising if the tomb had been intended to have additional rooms, although how far the builders got with these rooms it is difficult to say on current evidence, she said. I would be very surprised if this tomb was built to house the original, or first, burial of Nefertiti. It seems to me that it is highly likely that she died during her husband's reign and so would have been buried at Amarna, the city purpose-built by Akhenaten in Middle Egypt. But I would have expected her to be buried somewhere in the Western Valley, rather than in the center of the Valley of the Kings. Nefertiti, whose name means the beautiful one has come, was the queen of Egypt and wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten during the 14th century BC. She and her husband established the cult of Aten, the sun god, and promoted artwork in Egypt that was strikingly different from its predecessors. Her title suggests she was co-regent and possibly a pharaoh after Akhenaten's death. But despite her remarkable status, her death and burial remains a mystery. Each piece of evidence on its own is not conclusive, but put it all together and it's hard to avoid my conclusion, Mr. Reeves told The Economist. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but if I'm right, this is potentially the biggest archaeological discovery ever made. The images were unveiled by Factum Art, a group which recently created a life-size copy of Tutankhamun's tomb, intended for tourists to visit. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 caused a worldwide sensation. The rich furnishings and decorations have entranced the public while archaeologists have puzzled over the king's death. He was found buried with 2 stillborn children and his passing ended the Thutmose family line. Tutankhamun's death led to war as he was succeeded by his advisor A, who married the boy king's widow. Under his rule Egypt was defeated in a war with the Hittites.